All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Josh. I am the fantasy football buff, and I'm joined once again by my brother Noah. And we're going to be talking about the top trending players in Dynasty Football. So if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and let's get it. Okay, everybody, like I said, we're going to be talking about the top trending players today in Dynasty. If you're new to the channel, we talk about so many different players. If you're looking for someone specific, go down to the comment section, right? I put down all the timestamps of specifically where you can find those players. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We try to produce one of these Dynasty trends video every single week. And hit that like button. Support us, man. The more likes I get, the more subscribers I get, the more effort I want to put into this channel. So give us your feedback if there's anything else you guys would like to see. Also, surprise, surprise, we got a big announcement coming up today. We got a Discord channel, right? Dynasty Fantasy Football is all about that constant discussion of football players, of contracts, of how they look, right? Like I've said many times, Dynasty value is subjective, and I constantly want to be talking about it with you all. So go down to the comments below, go down to the actual description of this video, and we will have the link to that Discord channel. You guys will be the first people to join because it's literally just Noah and I right now. All right, Noah, how are you, man?
Dude, I'm great. Dude, I'm good, man. Life's good. Football's good.
Yeah, right? What a day.
Holidays are good. Yeah.
Today's Wednesday. There was a Wednesday afternoon game, which is, weird, really weird.
Yeah, I came home from work. It was maybe, I don't know, 5 o'clock Eastern time. Yeah. And I turned to my parents. I go, hey, you guys want to watch the game? My mom is looking at me, looks at the clock, looks at me, looks at the clock. She goes, it's Wednesday. I go, yeah, I know there's a game tonight. She goes,
that's awesome. That is awesome. Also, I mean, not to be biased, but Trace McSorley might be the truth. And I'm only saying that because I own Hollywood Brown and he had a 70-yard touchdown. So a little bit of life. An actual long touchdown from Hollywood Brown was good to see. Noah, I'm going to start you off with a question. I had this player that a couple of weeks ago, I had him on my, not officially on this channel, I had him on my trending down list, but never talked about it with you. Then this past week, I wanted to put him on a trending up video. And because you're a Bucs fan, I had to get on here and discuss him with you. And that's none other than your boy, Ronald Jones, right? Rojo, the GOAT himself. Now, I know you're a Rojo truther, and that's why I knew I had to come on this channel and talk with you about him today. And the main reason we need to talk about this is because I'm not sure if Leonard Fournette's going to be a Buck next season, right? I'm really sure he's not. And a lot of people don't realize this because Ronald Jones is splitting so many snaps right now. But Rojo's the RB12 on the season, right? Fournette's averaging more snaps than Ronald Jones is, but Rojo's balling out right now. He's 5th in the league in rushing yards, right? He's splitting a backfield, and he's 5th in the league in rushing yards. And this is, again, sharing the backfield with Leonard Fournette. Still a top 12 running back in fantasy, has been decently consistent in breaking out those long plays. And watching the Bucs game as a Tom Brady fan, he looks really good, right? I love watching him play. So from your perspective, he's young, man. He's still young. He's still in very early 20s, right?
23.
Yeah. If Leonard Fournette's gone next season and they don't replace him with another piece, which I can only pray that they don't, how high would you have Ronald Jones ranked in 2020 or 2021 in redraft leagues? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, I think you have to start taking him in like the Chris Carson range.
Yeah.
Chris Carson usually goes like third, fourth round, I think you gotta view him there. Just because, let's say it's him and Keyshawn Vaughn are the 1-2 guys going into next year.
Yeah.
Keyshawn Vaughn will serve the same role that Leonard Fournette is, but Ronald Jones is truly coming into his own right now and is comfortable in the offense. Seems like he's kind of shook the catching yips a little bit. He's not just like anymore at the ball. He's actually watching the ball come all the way in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously different in practice. You can catch every single ball you want, but in the game, it really comes down to how much work you put into it and where your mentality is with it.
Oh yeah.
So I hate when I like seeing Leonard Fournette for the Bucs because I think he's a fantastic guy to put with Ronald Jones because he's just a completely different style.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see like a James White paired with Ronald Jones that type of back.
Yeah.
But I think he's a early third, maybe end of second, depending on what they do with this offense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because, I'm looking at his snap percentage. He's had one game. He's had 1, 2, 3, 4. He's only had 5 games over 50% of snaps.
Wow. And 5th in the league in rushing yards.
Yeah. It's like he's had over 10 carries 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times, but he's had under 10 carries 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And it's like, for example, against New Orleans, he touched the ball 7 times against New Orleans this last game, when they got on Monday night, when they got the rope speed off of them. And it's like the Bucs are I hate to, they don't want to admit it, but the Bucs are a control the clock, play defense type of team at this point. Because personally, I don't think the Bucs defense is built to get into shootouts.
Yeah.
As we saw Sunday night with Mahomes. They had a nice little comeback, made it look close, but they're not built for shootouts. Tom Brady's not built for shootouts. They're built for running the ball. They're built for time of possession, using their big receivers to just keep moving the chains, creating mismatches, and then playing good defense on the other end. Because the Bucs defense, they're great, but against good elite receivers, they're going to struggle. Because their secondary has always been their weakest spot. They can stop the run, Losing Vita Vea took, how Pittsburgh's defense is, suffocating this year?
Oh, yeah. It's devastating.
The Bucs defense would probably be number 2 behind them, in my opinion, if Vita Vea wouldn't have gotten hurt.
Wow.
He broke his ankle against Chicago. And it just was Devin White legitimately landed on it. And I saw that and I go, dude, that sucks. Because he's such a big dude. That's going to be such a long time for him to come back and feel like 100% on that ankle. So.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
I love Ronald Jones. I think he's going to be awesome next year. I think he's one of the guys. I got him so late in our redraft league. But if I'm in a redraft dynasty next year, I'm looking at taking him. Let's say it's a 2 quarterback league.
In Dynasty?
I'm looking, in Dynasty. I'm looking at taking him maybe 4th, 5th round.
Yeah, interesting. So I definitely think he's a buy low now because of the opportunity and his age. It sounds like you have him at least in your top 30 running backs in Dynasty. It sounds like at least.
I would take Ronald Jones over. Right now, I would take Ronald Jones over Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Whoa.
In terms of just what the production you're going to get out of it.
Whoa.
Because I think even Clyde Edwards-Helaire next year is going to be mano-a-mano with Damian
Williams?
Yeah, Damian Williams that opted out. Because they're not going to bring Le'Veon back. They're just going to bring Damian in.
Interesting.
And I think they're going to go mano-a-mano because why wouldn't they?
Interesting.
So, that's just how I feel if they don't bring in or they don't draft another running back over the top of him. And if they do, then okay, I'm just waiting for him to hit a new team. But with that, behind that offensive line, the way that he plays, when the Bucs commit to running the football, I was watching him the first 6-7 weeks. He was always making people miss.
Yeah.
Always making people miss. So, I've enjoyed watching him. Maybe it's because I'm a Bucs fan. I'm biased. I enjoy watching him more than Clyde Edwards. I think Ronald Jones has the juice, but you have to remember he grew up in Southern California, was a 4-star recruit, played at USC, grew up in Southern California, left after his junior year or his redshirt sophomore year. I think it was his junior year, and was 20 years old when he started with the Bucs.
Wow, couldn't even legally drink at that point.
No, he was 20 years old, And he had just moved from Southern California clear across the country to Tampa. And everyone's like, ooh, dude, Ronald sucks. Dude, Rojo sucks. Like, he's garbage. He doesn't know. It's like, dude, he's 21 years old. Like, he just is leaving home. He has not, like, he's not a man yet. Like in terms of, like, being on his own, like, yeah, this is mine. Like, it takes a while to, like, it's hard to move across the country and be that far away from family. And then on top of that, have the expectations like, all right, dude, we took you in the second round. Like, you got to perform, you know, especially at a position where people will expect running backs to perform right now.
Yeah.
So I really do think he's just hitting his stride. I think he's going to be, in my opinion, an Aaron Jones type of player.
Wow.
Where like for the Packers, I want, like, this is, if I'm the Bucs, I'm going to ride Ronald Jones until his rookie contract's done, and then I'm just going to let him go.
Interesting. Okay.
You know, I would be in the same boat as where the Packers are. I'm going to ride Aaron Jones, and then after that, I'm just going to start over and get a new guy.
Find someone else.
Yeah.
Dude, don't let your kids be running backs, man. That's all I have to tell all the future parents out there. You brought up two amazing points. One, the philosophy, the offensive philosophy of the Bucs. Right now, they're known as this pass first team. They have Antonio Brown. They have all these offensive weapons with Tom Brady, and their defense is outstanding. I mean, I refuse to start any fantasy running back against them. And it's interesting to see what happens next season, right? Do they become a run first team next year? I mean, they'll most likely lose Brady, most likely lose Antonio Brown, most likely lose Gronk, right? So you still have two amazing weapons on the outside between Mike Evans and Godwin.
Wait, you don't think Tom Brady's going to be a Buck next year?
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know if Tom Brady's going to be playing football next year. It's not I really don't know. I really don't know. I think Tom Brady wanted to prove that he could be something without Belichick, and they're not proving it. I mean, they're losing games. They don't look fantastic out there. I mean, the weapons.
I totally disagree.
Really?
Yeah, well, because I think Tom Brady
right now, right? Like, they're getting in fights about him throwing interceptions.
Yeah. What do you expect? It's Tom Brady and Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
Like, two alpha dogs. They're not going to back down. I think this is a 3-year commitment by Tom Brady.
Really? So he's going to play till he's like 45?
Yeah, dude. He doesn't have to run.
Wow. All right, man.
If his shoulder holds up and he doesn't get hurt anywhere here, or, you know,
right.
I think he's because here's the thing. You can't just say the only season you're going to play is with COVID, because you had no off season, you had no training camp, you had no mini camp, you barely had a preseason, you know, in terms of practice schedule.
Yeah.
You know, they had zero time to build rapport with this passing attack. And people, I don't know if you listened, but at the end of the game on Sunday, Tony Romo was saying, we just saw the Bucs offense turn the corner in this game. They may have lost against the Chiefs, but we just saw them in the second half turn the corner because they almost came back, even though Brady threw some interceptions.
Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, and that's why him and Gronk are lighting it up and moving the chains for him, because they know what to expect from each other.
Okay. Yeah.
He just hasn't built that rapport. Godwin's been hurt. Evans hasn't been 100% the whole time. It's like
Antonio Brown
Antonio Brown was suspended. It just takes time.
Yeah.
You know? So I think the Bucs are a classic team, in my opinion. It's not about who's the best. It's about who can get hot at the right time.
I like it.
I think the Bucs could, I'm not saying they will, but the Bucs could get hot come playoff time.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Especially because they have a week 13 bye. Their bye week is this week.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have time to regroup, get together, you know, work some kinks out, and then bam, get after it. They haven't even had their bye week. That's my theory.
No, dude. And again, you watch the Bucs much more closely than I do. So from a dynasty perspective, when you talk about Ronald Jones, next year is his last year on this rookie contract. But if you believe in the talent, right, and you believe that he's going to ball either here or elsewhere, I mean, he could be a buy right now in Dynasty. And you have him right now, for context, Fantasy Pros has Ronald Jones as the RB26 in Dynasty PPR formats, and they have Clyde Edwards-Helaire all the way up at 7. That's their
I would say Ronald Jones is probably around 15.
15, okay.
Who's RB15 right now?
RB15 currently is Austin Eckler, right? But between Ronald Jones and Clyde, you have guys like Todd Gurley, right? You have guys like James Conner, Kenyon Drake, Cam Akers, players of that nature. I mean, Cam Akers, you can make the argument, but all those other guys I named.
I would take Ronald Jones over Kenyon Drake, Todd Gurley, and James Conner.
Okay,
no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that front. I think those players are definitely trending down for sure. Speaking of trends, let's dive into Trendtastic Tuesday, man. I love it. Let's talk about, you know what, I'll kick us off this time. I want to talk about my trending player. I need to talk about this guy. And
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know. Tell me if you like this idea. I almost want you to tell me who it is without saying their name, and I want to see if I can guess.
Okay. I won't say your name, but I'll give you all the points why I love this guy and why they're trending up. And I need to start this with an apology. Right? This player is a rookie, came out with minimal production in college, right? Drafted to a very mediocre team in a running back room that was filled with people. And I saw this draft pick, and I was not interested. This man went in the 15th round in our league, and he's balling, right? And he is balling. This man is, you already know who it is, right? You have to. No?
15th round?
Yeah, he went in the 15th round in our league. He's a running back. And this man is balling right now. He's currently the RB5 on the season as a rookie on a terrible offense. Right, he among running backs with 100 carries, he is 7th in the league with 4.6 yards per carry. The offense he plays on is currently the 25th ranked offense. Right, their O-line is ranked outside the top 20, and they've had incredibly mediocre quarterback play. But despite that, he's still the RB5 on the season. You got to know who this is.
Robinson?
No, Robinson's an excellent guess, though, and someone who's definitely trending up. This is none other than Antonio Gibson.
Oh, yeah.
The God.
Oh, yeah.
Antonio Gibson.
Dude is an animal.
He was picked at the very beginning of the third round of the NFL draft, and you go watch his college tape. It's amazing. But you know what was his biggest criticism of him is that he only had 33 carries his entire college career. Right, he did not get a lot of work on the ground in college. So I personally had a hard time buying in because if everyone remembers, at the beginning of last spring, there was so many mediocre running backs in that locker room. Right, between the guy who got cut, what's his name, that everybody loved.
Darius Geis.
Yeah, between Darius Geis and then one other person got cut as
Bryce Love.
Yeah, Bryce Love. Like there were so many running backs.
Adrian Peterson.
McKissick, who's still there, Peyton Barber, who's still there. There was literally 6 mediocre running backs in that backfield. And Gibson comes in and then just balls out, man. First of all, he's a physical specimen, right? I mean, people talked about this, and I had a hard time, again, buying in because of the offense, because his minimal college production. He ran a 4.39 40-yard dash, right? He's in the 98th percentile. He's 99th speed score, right? He is a freak of nature, incredibly fast. Up to this point of the season, he is averaging 47% snap share, right? So he's not getting a lot of carries, right? He's actually 16th in the league in carries, so he's really not getting a lot of work. But then my man on a terrible offense is being so incredibly efficient, it's insane. He's averaging 3.5 targets a game, which is, you'd like to see. He is 2nd in the league with 11 touchdowns, right? 2nd in the league, again, 16th in the league in carries, 2nd in the league in touchdowns, and has 41 evaded tackles, which is top 10 in the league, right? He's on a team that sucks. He's only 22 years old. He's a rookie, and he's balling. Like, watching him honestly reminds me of like a young Christian McCaffrey, right? Maybe that's putting him in really big shoes, but how fast he is, how elusive he is, and the fact that he's performing on a mediocre offense. If next season, right, as he continues to develop, maybe I think the Washington football team is going to have a high draft pick next season. Maybe they actually get a rookie quarterback they believe in, right? And before you know it, man, like if this offense takes a step up, and with Terry McLaurin balling out on the outside, like Gibson is definitely someone who's trending up. For considering he went in the 15th round, and I took Jordan Howard, or I drafted consciously and drafted Jordan Howard over Antonio Gibson, and now Antonio Gibson is the RB5 on the season, and Jordan Howard is barely on a practice squad. So it's definitely someone that's trending up, to say the least. What are your thoughts here on Antonio Gibson, the God?
I think the football team, I think they make the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, in that division, man, they just need a couple more wins.
Yeah, so I think they make the playoffs because they got the best defense out of all 4 of them. I think Antonio Gibson's awesome, man. I just love that he played receiver, played some running back. And he only got, 30 carries, you said, in his college career?
Yeah.
You know who he played behind his entire career except for his last year?
This is Memphis, right?
Yeah.
Who do you play behind? I'm trying to remember.
Darrell Henderson.
Oh, your boy.
So it was Darrell Henderson that, legitimately, torched teams.
Yeah.
His highlights from Memphis are fantastic.
That's awesome.
But so it was him. Those two were on the same field at Memphis. So at that level of competition, those two were eating.
Yeah.
So I love the fit, you know, and we know that that their philosophy is going to be their offenses have always been centered around running backs ever since Ron Rivera has been there. Even when it was Jonathan Stewart for Carolina back in the day, it's always been centered around running backs. So whether you're getting the ball out of the backfield, having them on option routes, they just love getting their running backs one-on-one against linebackers, which who doesn't, you know? And he just fits the mold of what they want to do and what they're looking for in a back. I don't know if I'd go as far to say he's the McCaffrey, but he definitely fits the McCaffrey role in the offense.
He has some flashes, man. He has some flashes. And I remember this past offseason, their head coach, oh my gosh, I'm terrible with names. But Ron Rivera compared Gibson to CMC, and I literally laughed when I heard this. I was like, okay, bro, slow down. And then I'm watching this season and watching him with the ball. And now I know he just torched the Dallas defense, which is they're just trash, right?
It's Dallas.
It's Dallas. He just looks good, man, and he's looked good all season, and he's been consistent in fantasy despite getting minimal snaps. So next season, they have a off season without COVID. They have a quarterback and an offense that actually can develop together. Hopefully, a legit starter at quarterback, whether it's Alex Smith or not. And man, I'm excited for him moving forward. All right, bro.
So
yeah, who's your first trending player, man? Let's hear it.
I had Ronald Jones.
Oh, really?
On top of my list. You asked me that, and I was like, oh, okay. And I was just gonna say that on the basis that I still think you could, I still think you can buy him low. I definitely think you can buy him low this off season because he just kind of has that stigma around him that no one really wants him on his team.
Yeah.
I got him super late in the draft.
I didn't want him.
No one wanted him, and I was like, dude, I'm all about this Ronald Jones stuff. He just needs time.
Yeah.
And so Ronald Jones was my first guy. Have we talked about Curtis Samuel on our trending players?
We have not yet, no, but he is definitely a player that you are more than welcome to mention.
Okay, so Curtis Samuel is a guy that I think starts lighting it up even more when they get McCaffrey on the field.
And then DJ Moore's injured right now, right? A non-contact ankle injury, I'm pretty sure this past week.
Yeah, they're on a bye this week, I think. Yeah, so that's why I really haven't been paying much attention to it. But he is. Let me see what they said. He's not ruled out. It was a serious ankle injury, but X-rays were negative. So you're looking at maybe a high ankle sprain or a midfoot sprain or something of that nature. So just kind of depends on how it bounces back for him. But DJ Moore's out. They could be getting Christian McCaffrey back after the bye.
Oh, baby.
I think Curtis Samuel is finally getting utilized the way he got utilized at Ohio State. He's just a matchup nightmare.
Yeah.
You can line him up in the slot. You can run. You can give him the ball out of the backfield. You can jet sweep him out of the backfield. There are just so many different things. But imagine when this Panthers team is at full tilt. Just imagine everyone healthy. You got Christian McCaffrey at running back, Anderson at one receiver, DJ Moore at the other receiver, and then Curtis Samuel in the slot, essentially. Or honestly, I would be running. What I would be doing is I would line both of them up in the backfield a lot. Yeah. And I would have the quarterback here, one here, or type of look, and then I would just motion one out almost every play. Yeah. That's how I would attack it. At least in some sense. Obviously that's very dumbed down because it's the NFL. You got to have more complex. But that I would really try to utilize both of them and use them. But you got to get your number one corner on DJ Moore.
Yeah.
You got to – Anderson's a phenomenal number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Christian McCaffrey's going to get the number one person. You're like, all right, if we're going to get beat by anyone, it's not going to be Christian McCaffrey because he's just going to do what he does. I just think Curtis Samuel is going to find that kind of that Juju Smith role that Juju played when it was Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown.
Okay.
I'm not saying DJ Moore is Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying. I think he's just going to get a lot of those one-on-one, is a better athlete, is a better player than the person across from them because he's maybe getting the third best corner on the team.
Oh, yeah.
And if you get him on the third best corner or a safety or a linebacker, I just think his touchdown potential is out of this world.
Oh,
I just love the way that they've used him over the past 4 or 5 weeks. And I think he is what takes this offense to the next level when you get Christian McCaffrey back.
Yeah. Man, I could totally see that. I actually traded for Curtis Samuel at the beginning of the season, then I traded him back. And in hindsight, because I thought I was trading him back high because he was coming off multiple 20-point games. And as the season's gone on, I'm starting to regret that giving him up so easily a little bit. I mean, I love Jonathan Taylor.
You do love trading players and then trading them right back.
Dude, I love trading good players. Like, I hate having good players on my team. Is pretty much my offensive philosophy. I don't want to talk about my team right now because I just started one quarterback and barely lies. I'm just pissed off at the world right now. A news flash, just for the people listening in case they're interested. Had I not received Jonathan Taylor and kept Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel, I would currently still be in the second seed and not have lied, just because I like to torture myself and do the math. Anyways, I have traded for and traded away Curtis Samuel multiple times. And because of that, done a lot of research on him. He ran according to Player Profiler, he ran a 4.31 40-yard dash. He was drafted at the very beginning of the second round, just a couple of years ago. He's not even 25 years old yet. And every single coaching staff who has worked with him keeps saying we need to get him more involved. Right? A couple of years ago, we need to get Curtis Samuel more involved. As soon as he touches the ball, he's doing good things. Right? This past season, beginning of the season, we need to get him more involved. Everyone was saying that. Matt Rule was saying that. Right? Teddy Bridgewater was saying that. And then they actually did it. Right? And then they started giving him targets and giving him carries and throwing him in on the jet sweeps. And then he started balling out, not only for their team, but for fantasy. And everything you said about them having to respect McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore is 100% true. Right? So he is definitely a player. Well, I initially was worried about the amount of targets he would see because of the amount of weapons in that backfield. It doesn't matter, man. Even if he only sees 4 to 5 targets a game, like, he can produce with that. But instead, he's actually seeing much more targets, right? Instead, he's like, just to read off a couple targets this past, it was 5, 10, 5, 9, 5, 6 for his past.
Well, and look at that.
Yeah.
Week 7 gets targeted 6 times, catches 6 times. Week 9 gets targeted 9 times, catches 9 times. Week 11 gets targeted 10 times, catches it 8 times. I mean, just that. And then even when McCaffrey's playing, he gets a couple carries a game. Mm-hmm. Just as like a decoy, just to keep the defense honest. I mean, like, I wish if he would imagine his value he would have if he could be a running back. He was RB/receiver because he's worth it. I mean, he's deserving. If there's someone to be there, he's deserving. I love Curtis Samuel.
Dude, I honestly disrespected him when I traded him away in the sense that I did not see a fantasy viable future for him on the Panthers. I didn't. I, for whatever reason, was so focused on the targets. And I was hoping when I traded for him before the NFL trade deadline. So I was hoping actually that he would land with like the Packers or somebody who had demonstrated interest in the past. It's like, oh man, you put Curtis Samuel's speed with Aaron Rodgers, and I was freaking out. He didn't get traded, so I ended up giving him up. And again, another time where I just totally missed it. Matt Rule and Joe Brady and this offense is going to be so dirty in the next couple of years. I mean, they came in transitioning both of them, head coach and offensive coordinator, from college to the NFL in a COVID offseason, and they're finally up to, and they're looking as good as they do, man. Like, I wish I had held on to Curtis Samuel, in all honesty, because he's looking really good. He's looking really good.
I think he's a fantastic buy right now. I think he's always going into drafts. Let's say the Panthers essentially keep everything they have. Maybe they replace Anderson with someone else. Maybe they upgrade at tight end. but whatever it is, let's say their offense is the same. He's the one guy that is going to be slept on going into drafts next year.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I still, he's still being slept on. Another buy low player for those watching. All right, man, my second trending player is Allen Lazard. Allen Lazard, the Lizard King, as some refer to him as. He was an undrafted free agent in 2018 coming out of Iowa State. He's currently only 25 years old, and last night, or I guess 2 nights ago now, the Packers beat the Bears 41-25. Right, 41-25, they blew them out. Right, Aaron Rodgers didn't even throw the ball 30 times. Despite that, Allen Lazard was second on the team with a 20% target share in a blowout, in a game where he left hurt in the third quarter and played less than 50% of snaps. Right, so people are going to see, oh, he only saw 6 targets. Oh, his touchdown saved his fantasy production. He saw 20% of the targets on less than 50% of the snaps. That's something that needs to be highlighted. Ever since 2016, the fantasy community has been searching for that wide receiver 2 on the Packers, right? Everyone remembers back in 2016, Jordy Nelson and Davante Adams were both top 10 wide receivers in fantasy. And ever since then, people are looking for that wide receiver 2 for Aaron Rodgers. And there hasn't been anything recently, man. I mean, everyone was excited about Equanimeous St. Brown when he was drafted. Jake Kumaro, Devin Funchess is on the team, MVS, right? All these different wide receivers people are thinking about, being this wide receiver 2 and balling in fantasy. And the reality is that Lazard is this wide receiver 2 on the Green Bay Packers, and it all 100% comes down to Aaron Rodgers' trust, right? In 2019, Lazard had a targeted passer rating of 117. That was 13th best in the league, only behind Terry McLaurin. For context, Davante Adams' targeted passer rating was 101. So Lazard actually led that team in targeted passer rating. Now, of course, he saw less targets, but when he saw the targets, he was balling out. Now, this is a quote from Aaron Rodgers, right? In case you're wondering how Aaron Rodgers feels about Lazard. He said he is just a great teammate, an ascending player, and that he loves his approach every single week, and that he's made some of the big-time plays for us. This is a quote from Aaron Rodgers. Matt LaFleur, this past offseason, said Lazard's mindset and work ethic was contagious. Last season, there were reports that Lazard had Thanksgiving dinner with Aaron Rodgers' family back in 2019. Right, so as that trust increases, as he's returned from injury, he's just going to continue. His stock is just going to continue to rise, and he's going to continue to see targets and continue to ball in this offense. I want as many wide receivers. I want to be associated with Aaron Rodgers as long as they're getting targets. Now, people will jump on here and they'll hit me, as they do many times, with the logical coaching fallacy. They hit me with this all the time. But they say, Josh, this upcoming wide receiver class is stacked. There's no way that the Packers don't draft a wide receiver in this upcoming draft. And for those people who are going to think that, and because of that are worried about Lazard, I'll quickly refer them to the 2019 offseason when every single expert was saying that the Packers were going to draft a wide receiver, and they didn't. Right, and I don't think they didn't by accident. I don't think they got all emotional, and these expert coaches picked. We can talk about Love, we can talk about Dylan all we want, but I don't think they picked those players. I don't think they even gave them that option if they didn't feel confident in their wide receiver room currently. Right, if they didn't believe in Lazard to a certain extent. And at the end of the day, man, if you want to even put Jamar Chase on this team, right, who, again, freak of nature, I'm so excited to see where he lands. Is my rookie wide receiver 1 going into 2021. That does not mean that Aaron Rodgers will trust him, right? You can be all the talent in the world. If you don't work hard, if you're not making the big plays, then Aaron Rodgers just won't target you. So that's why I have Allen Lazard as a trending up player. He's someone who's going to be in my flex spot moving forward. And he's struggling with injury right now, but if he can stay healthy, then his upside is wide receiver 3. Probably is where I'd put him right now, just because of how many targets Davante Adams sees. But if Adams misses any time, then he's in that wide receiver 2 territory for me.
I think the Packers' second receiver is kind of like a revolving door. It'll go, because defenses adapt, so it'll go because Robert Tonyan is listed wide receiver tight end, plays tight end for them, but is just as valuable as a pass catcher, but I think it really just is all right, teams are focused on Davante, obviously, and stopping the run, and then it's all right, it's just who are they disrespecting the most, and Aaron Rodgers is all right, we'll just keep on going around. But no, I think Lazard has a chance of cementing himself as the number 2, at least for the rest of this year. Mm-hmm. Packers are dedicated to not drafting receivers, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but it would be fun to see what Aaron Rodgers could do with like a Bucs team right now, in terms of just playmakers. What do you think holds Lazard back? Is it just the lack of consistent targets? Is it
That's a great question. I would say, honestly, if you look at his game log and do a slightly deeper look, I'm not sure there's much holding him back from being a wide receiver right now on a week-by-week basis. He started off hot at the beginning of this last season. He came off the practice squad last year, right? So he's relatively new to the team. I think this is a more of an evolving relationship. And when you look a little bit deeper into the numbers and how much Aaron Rodgers has already targeted him and how well he's doing, I think he already is the wide receiver 2 on that team. And right now on Fantasy Pros, he's being ranked behind Marvin Jones, right? He's being ranked behind KJ Hamler. He's being ranked behind T.Y. Hilton. And I would take Lazard over all those players. He's at least a top 50 dynasty wide receiver, in my opinion. So it's tough, man. Had he not had core surgery and missed the middle of the season, I think you and I would be having a different conversation. But I guess we'll see. We'll see how the season ends. We'll see what kind of targets he sees as the season ends, for sure.
Yeah, that Packer. So many of these offenses as a whole are either about to be made or break with these last 5 or 6 weeks, because that off-season time you get just to kind of rep things out with every individual that you have is new, kind of adds to the time where you got to learn. Yeah. And the Packers at receiver have just been so unhealthy. Yeah. Over the past, 2-3 years. Yeah. That it's hard to say that they've had time to be like, all right, this is it's like having a band and then you keep missing one of your key players. Like, oh, dude, the drummer's out this week. No, now we got the bass. It's like you don't get the full sound of what you're supposed to listen to until you get everyone healthy. So I think they're finally going to be like, all right, we're jamming. I'm excited to see what St. Brown can do, actually. Okay. Because he comes from because I don't believe MVS. I think he's the guy that's out. Yeah. I think he's the guy that's going to end up being on the out. But I'm excited to see what St. Brown can do, because he's just battled injury after injury, and he played quite a bit of snaps last week. Had 6 points, played 54%
Lazard also
of snaps.
Lazard left at the very end of the game, or in the third quarter, with an injury. So I don't know if that was related, because he only played 26 snaps the week before. So, but I guess he's also returning. Well, no, he hasn't been injured, has he? I don't even know, man.
He's been battling injuries for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
They just haven't really used him. He tore his ACL. Halfway through last year. But I'm just excited to see how these Packers receivers evolve, because him and Lazard kind of have that similar build, both super tall, jump man type of jump man trying to go get it. So, I mean, that's if you can predict who's going to be that second guy for the Packers, especially going into next year, when I think they have A.J. Dillon toting the rock. Maybe they get, I could see them signing A.J. Dillon and going I don't even know. But I don't know. I just think that Packers offense is going to look a lot different next year. So I'm curious to see which ones kind of cement themselves into being part of the equation next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be Lazard, but again, who knows, man? And here's the real question. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is back for the Packers? And if so, how many more years is he in the green and yellow?
Well, when's his contract up?
Oh, that's a beautiful question.
Because I think he plays out this contract and then definitely he wants to win another Super Bowl. Oh, absolutely. That has to be, that has felt like it's been his number one goal the entire time. And I think he's going to have like a James Harden type of revelation. You know how James Harden was like, I'm not playing on the Rockets anymore. You guys need to trade me. Yeah. He just got traded. Yeah. So I think he's going to have that. All right, I gave this whole Green Bay Packers thing an experiment and I'm done with it. I'm going to go somewhere else. Yeah. But no, I mean, honestly, I think the best thing that could happen. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to go anywhere. Okay. I think he retires Packer.
Okay, so he does play 2021. He's still on contract. There is a potential out in 2022, but he's not a free agent until 2024. So we'll see, man. I really don't know what to expect with the Packers. I mean, I thought I did, and then they drafted Jordan Love, which, being from Utah, you love to see, but I still think it was a weird pick, all things considered.
Very weird.
Yeah. All right, man. Who is your last trending up player?
I got Anthony McFarland.
Ooh,
him and Benny Snell, actually, both.
Benny Snell looked good tonight. I don't know if you're able to watch the game at all.
No, it was a little. I watched a little bit, not a whole lot, but I just think those two moving forward are going to be the mano a mano going into next year.
Yeah.
Because I don't think James Conner is going to be back. And if I'm remembering correctly, he's in a contract year.
I'll look it up for you.
But I got Anthony McFarland, who they spent I want to say a 5th round pick on, maybe a 4th round pick on. But the dude is from Maryland, and he lit up Ohio State his freshman year.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he torched them up. But I mean, last year Maryland was just garbage, and he didn't really have a whole lot working with him. Maryland has a reputation of having late round gems, you know, a la Stephon Diggs.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited to see what he can do, because he really doesn't see a whole lot of work.
Yeah.
But he looks good when he's doing it. But I think he's kind of in that same boat as Ronald Jones was when he first came into the league.
Yeah.
Just with the luxury of being able to sit back and learn rather than be like, all right, you're it, you know?
Yeah.
So I like the position, the future of the Steelers running back position.
Interesting.
I think I could even see a team like, I will completely change my course if the Steelers signed Aaron Jones.
Interesting. Oh yeah.
I would be like, I will take all of Aaron Jones. You know,
that would be I would love to see him.
That would be fun. We would all have fun. I would have fun.
Especially the fantasy owners of Aaron Jones.
Yeah. You know, like, I think Aaron Jones on the Steelers would be a fantastic fit, because he can catch the ball out of the backfield. He knows how to run in between the tackles. He can pass block. I think he's exactly the type of running back they can look for. But I don't think they're going to I don't think they do that. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But I think Benny Snell, Anthony McFarland are going to be battling it out. And they're going to be the 1-2 punch. They both were really good in college, highly touted recruits. So it's not even so much McFarland and Benny Snell that are trending up. I just like that. That's when looking at the whole picture of the NFL. That's one position where I'm like, all right, something's got to come change, because that position is only reaching. And no knock on James Conner. I mean, it's a fantastic story. And he's played really well, but we've seen what that position can be like when you have a top 5 back like Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we see what that offense can be like, and I think we're only seeing that happen at about 60% capacity. I think there's room. I think the Steelers running back, whoever it is, if they had a bell cow running back, that's a top 5, top 6 overall fantasy player, not including quarterbacks, overall flex player. That position of itself should be. That's how I feel about it, because I mean, if you look back at like the Jerome Bettis days and things like that, like, I mean, like, that is the position where it's like, all right, we have receivers everywhere. Yeah. And then that's what the thing, because who knows if they signed Juju? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know, man. That's a great point. I mean, we all know how much Mike Tomlin has not only always done, but will always say that he wants a workhorse running back. He wants a workhorse running back. And Benny Snell tonight, I mean, to his credit, got 16 carries against a brutal Ravens defense and was able to churn out 60 yards. He also saw 4 targets. Right, so who's ever in that workhorse role normally balls, right? I mean, James Conner is going to be a free agent next season. And if I'm James Conner, my big concern for this offense is I think he's going to come back really cheap to them. I think he's going to come back really cheap. I don't think he wants to hit free agency. If I'm James Conner, that's not what I'm doing. But I'm not sure, man. I think that the Steelers want to have a workhorse running back, and I don't think James Conner is the answer. So whether they draft somebody, whether they pick up an Aaron Jones or one of these amazing free agent running backs coming into this, or they give it over to Benny Snell, who's only 22. They give it over to Anthony McFarland, who's only 21 years old. He's a short guy. He's 5'8", 21 years old. But, I mean, the man ran a 4.44 40-yard dash, and he is fast. And you go watch his college highlights, and he is explosive with the ball. He just hasn't been getting the work because he's 21 years old and a rookie. So we'll see, man. No, I totally agree that backfield needs a little bit more respect, and they need a workhorse. And I'm not sure what that looks like going into next season. Absolutely. All right, man. This one, I got to talk about a trending down player. And this guy I actually was a little bit more excited about. A couple episodes ago, I said he was a buy low. And I no longer think he's a buy low because I think he's continuing to trend down. And if you believe in this player, then, maybe. But I don't believe in him. And I don't believe this man's the future. And that's Drew Lock. Right? It has to be Drew Lock on the Broncos. And I'm not just saying that because he got COVID and missed a weekend. But John Elway's looking for a franchise quarterback, and Drew Lock's not the answer, right? He just simply is not the answer. We came into this season, everybody, the whole fantasy community, saying Lock has everything going for him, right? They upgraded the offensive line. They added multiple offensive weapons on the through the draft. Right, and and he just hasn't. The production hasn't been there. Right, the big concern coming into this was, the Denver defense is pretty solid. Who knows how much passing that he'll actually have to do? Well, that defense is banged up, right? And they're actually 9th in the league in pass attempts, which is what you want to see out of a fantasy quarterback most times. But he just hasn't been performing, man. He only has 2 games this season over 15 fantasy points, and statistically speaking, not getting it done. Right, not only are they not necessarily winning a lot of games. But he's just not getting it done, statistically speaking. Right now, I know that their wide receiver 1 is not currently on the field. Right, so I mean, once Sutton comes back, that certainly will help. But he's 8th in the league right now in deep ball attempts. Right, he's second in yards per attempt. Right, so he's chucking the ball down the field, but it's not translating. Right, he is 28th in yards actually per pass, per completion. Sorry, 33rd. In accuracy, 33rd in accuracy ranking, and 10th in interceptable passes. He's only played 7 full games due to the injuries and COVID that he struggled with. But he is 5th in the league in total danger plays, which called by Player Profiler. And a danger play is defined as a play in which the quarterback lacked awareness or took unnecessary risk that could have resulted in a turnover. And so he's not getting it done. They're not winning games. He's statistically and in fantasy not making it happen. And the Broncos currently have the 12th overall pick, right? If you go to the pick projector for where they're saying they have the 12th overall pick. And to finish the season, they play the Chiefs, the Panthers, the Bills, the Chargers, and the Raiders. That's their season to close out the season. I'll repeat that. The Chiefs, Panthers, Bills, Chargers, Raiders. Maybe they beat the Panthers. Maybe they beat the Raiders. I don't know if they could beat the Chargers, right? The way that offense currently looks. So they have the potential, if they lose out, right? They have the potential to have a top 5 pick, right? Who's to say they don't snag a quarterback in those top picks, right? Who's to say that like a Trey Lance isn't out there? Or,
Do you think Trey Lance is an upgrade?
I think he is, man. I think he is. Over Drew Lock? Come on.
I rather invest in the team.
Interesting.
I'd rather go beef up the O-line again. I'd rather go. You got 3 awesome tight ends. You got the receiver room.
Yeah.
You got a mixed bag at running back that works for you.
Yeah.
You got injuries on the defense up and down. I'd probably just invest in that defense and give Drew Lock. I think if I'm the Broncos, I'm taking the best player available.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm keeping Drew Lock.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving him 1 more year because, again, I'm doing the whole asterisk. Okay, we didn't really have a true offseason. You didn't get to throw with your rookies. You didn't really get to do all that.
Yeah.
Rookies are rookies. Their top 2 receivers right now are rookies.
Yeah.
You know, he has zero rapport with him and Noah Fant, and Noah Fant gets the number one attention from the defense every single time.
He's a baller.
So I think that offense is just so young that I think you have to give Drew Lock one more year, assuming you can have a relatively normal offseason. I mean, there's no normal anymore, but a relatively back to schedule offseason.
Yeah.
I think you've got to give him the keys one more year. I would disagree if this team was like Jacksonville when they had Blake Bortles. Because Jacksonville was legitimately a Tyrod Taylor away from probably at least making a Super Bowl.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you watched that game. You watched how terrible Blake Bortles is against the Patriots. I mean,
I thought the Patriots were going to lose that game.
Yeah, dude, he's terrible.
Yeah.
He single-handedly blew up the Jags.
All right, okay. Here's a question for you. If you're the Broncos, you're sitting there, you have the upgraded offensive line, defense is coming back, and you have Kyle Trask sitting on the board. You would still rather take Drew Lock? Really?
I'd rather take Drew Lock because this has been my issue.
Yeah.
Maybe it's tough when you're in a position as a GM and you're like, man, obviously, like, if you need a quarterback, you got to draft a quarterback. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'm of the mindset that if you're truly trying to build a team, why not build the team around the young quarterback before you even get the young quarterback?
Okay.
So I'm saying, all right, we'll give Drew Lock the experiment. He was a second-round pick. You spent a good pick on him, but he wasn't. Yeah. He was a second-round pick. You let him keep doing his thing. He's not terrible. He's not great. He's just kind of there. You know, he's learning. He's in his first full year of starting, has battled injuries back and forth, hasn't been ideal, plays in an extremely tough division.
Yeah.
But I'm only drafting a quarterback if I know he's the guy.
Interesting.
Like, if Justin Fields sometimes falls in their lap, then okay. Sign it up, dude. Don't run to the podium before you mess it up, man.
Yeah.
But I'm of the mindset where I would build that team.
Yeah.
Unless if I get one of the top two quarterbacks, I'm building that team. I'm giving Drew Lock one more year to build rapport with those receivers. And if not, all those receivers gain a year of experience. The tight ends get another year of experience, and you get to just figure out what you're doing at running back.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll see, man. I would not be surprised if, for example, they bring in, they draft Trask, right? And if they do bring him in, I don't think he's the starter necessarily. But to kind of see and have some kind of quarterback competition between him and Locke. But we'll see, man. Regardless, I'm just to the point as the Drew Lock owner, as someone who's been watching these Bronco games very carefully, I just don't think he's the answer for them. And I understand that he's young, and I understand it's a COVID off season and this and that, so maybe I'm missing the mark. Regardless, at least from a public perspective, Drew Lock is definitely trending down, right? So if you believe that he's going to stick around another year and you think that he can have any kind of fantasy, value going into next season, then, I mean, he's definitely a buy low candidate because I'm not super excited about him. That's for sure, man.
Yeah, like I'm just looking at a random mock draft.
Yeah.
And right now they have the Broncos taking Alex Leatherwood, offensive tackle from Alabama.
Still would be a great fit, right? They need him.
And you take a tackle. Tackles are hopefully 10 to 12 year investments. You get your 10, 12 year investment. You roll the dice one more time on Drew Lock. If he doesn't get it done, then you just get to, who knows? Maybe you get honestly, if I'm the Broncos and you really aren't sure about Drew Lock, I just roll the dice and throw Jameis in there and be like, hey, quarterback competition, let's do it. There are going to be so many quarterbacks that, or if you really want to go after it and Dallas doesn't sign Dak, roll the dice at Dak. Throw the money at him. You know what I mean? You have all those receivers. It's essentially the same thing. You're just moving divisions, and it gives you a quarterback. If you believe in Dak, it gives you a quarterback that can put you over the teams of the Chiefs, the Chargers.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the AFC West is about to be the best division in football, and it's not even close.
Yeah, those offenses.
Raiders, good. Yeah. Chiefs are the Chiefs. And the Chargers should be a 6-7 win team right now. Yeah. And they got the best rookie quarterback in the league.
Yep. Absolutely. No disagreement on my end. So I think you and I are kind of seeing eye to eye then. I think you and I philosophically think the Broncos are going to go different paths. But I think a year from now, right, 2021, November, Drew Lock either isn't going to have a team or is he going to be a starter, or he's going to be on his way out, right? Unless he comes in and really steps it up, then that's just my expectation. So he's definitely trending down in Dynasty. Noah, who is your first trending down player here in Dynasty formats?
See, now that you brought up the Drew Lock thing, this is such an interesting player for me because he's been there his whole career, has made a ton of money, but is getting to the point where it's like, all right, obviously you're not the future. We're not going to be building around you. We got to completely dismantle this team. We got to go start brand new, keep a couple core pieces we like. But other than that, got to do a Miami Dolphins and just picks, open up the cap room, bring in players you like, clean house.
Yeah.
Any guesses?
Oh, man. I'm trying to think. I want to say Derek Carr.
No,
not Derek Carr. He what division?
I would actually put Derek Carr as a trending up player.
Really? Yeah, I mean,
I would love to have Derek Carr on my team.
He looked pretty bad against the Falcons, but the whole offense did, and he looked so good against the Chiefs. So, yeah, man, I don't blame you on that front. Oh man, I'm not going to be able to guess it.
I will just to NFC.
Okay,
I'll
NFC.
Leave it at that.
Making a lot of money, been there his whole career, but the team is struggling in the NFC. Oh man, can you give me anything else about this team?
Anything else, it'll be a dead giveaway.
Give it away. Oh, damn.
You got to guess at this point.
Yeah, just tell me. There's no way.
You got to get one guess. One name out there.
The first thought that came to mind was Kirk Cousins, but I mean he hasn't been there his whole career.
Close, but no.
Close.
Yeah, close. Right division.
Is it Matthew? Is it Stafford?
Stafford.
Oh,
it is Matthew Stafford.
Took me a little while. I totally agree with you, but can make your points, man.
Okay, so they just fired their head coach. They just fired their GM.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford is 32 years old. Will start 2021 being 33.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at his contract right now. He signed a 5-year, $135 million contract. $92 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
And he was the last, I remember, because I'm a nerd. I remember he was the last quarterback before the collective bargaining agreement changed that reduced rookie salaries. I remember he sat down with the Lions owner and was like, hey, this is what we'll pay you. And he signed a huge contract. I mean, as a rookie, made a ton of money. But they're saying now they could have a potential out after this year.
Yeah.
And now that I'm saying this, depending on where he ends up, I feel like he's trending down, but I do not think he is going to be with the Lions next year because he's going to be 33. He's going to be getting close. He's made his money. At this point, it's going to be, does he want to win or is he good just kind of coasting off into the sunset, not really caring about winning, just as like, I made a ton of money, life's good, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, now that you brought up Drew Lock, Matthew Stafford would be so much fun on the Broncos.
Oh, yeah.
Because he can still sling it, But I just have Matthew Stafford as a trending down player because he's going to get replaced.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to bring in someone in new. If he plays again there this year or this upcoming year. Yeah, because after this year, he has a dead cap hit. If they cut him, they lose. They have a dead cap hit of $25 million, which is a lot, but for a rebuilding team, you can do it. But the year after that, oh no, I lied. It's $25 million next year, and then it goes to 9, and then it goes to 4.5, 4.9.
Okay.
So they can get out pretty much after this year at any time. Just a matters of how much cap they want to eat up. But I just think that the Lions are finally going to be like, dude, we got a young running back.
Mm-hmm.
We got Kenny Golladay if they want to re-sign him.
Yeah.
But other than that, that team sucks.
Yep.
I mean, like, it just sucks. It is literally blown up in their face.
Yeah.
Their veterans suck. They don't have Darius Slay anymore.
Yep.
What's his name? Okuda from Ohio State has not looked good.
Struggling. Yeah.
So I just think as a whole, Lions down. Matthew Stafford, as long as he's a Lion, down.
Interesting.
Go somewhere else, back up.
Okay.
Again, I mean, even imagine Matthew Stafford as a Niner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine, like that. He is a gun-slinging quarterback that just wants to throw the ball and have fun.
Yeah.
But the Lions have always sucked.
Yeah.
Have always sucked, and he's never been good with them. But I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see if he goes to the Ryan Fitzpatrick role, or if he's just.
Yeah.
I could see him literally being like, all right, I'm done. You know? It just depends on how much he wants to win a Super Bowl. But I got Matthew Stafford trending down, just because of the situation going on here. I could see him lighting it up though the rest of the year. Yeah. Just because he's playing with with head coaching staff, all that fired. It's like, oh, dude, thank God, those guys are gone. And I can see him lighting it up. But in terms of long-term dynasty views, you have the chance to ship out Matthew Stafford for picks, for a young player that you like, even a different vet guy, just a quarterback needy team, and you kind of get a couple pieces you like. I think there are going to be other quarterback opportunities for you to acquire, where Matthew Stafford, you'll be like, it was nice having you, but sorry, I'm gonna get what you can, because I think his stock could end up climbing, but I just think it'll be a great time to sell.
I love that you just said that. I really love that you just said that. I love that we brought up the Lions. I love that you brought up Matthew Stafford, because I own a lot of Lions in a lot of different leagues, and I'm very familiar with this. and as a Patriots fan, I've been watching Matt Patricia very closely, and I'm very pleased that he left. I have a lot of crazy theories about the Lions, right? And this kind of comes all on the back of me having a lot of crazy theories on what wins NFL games. And I really do think that these teams, like, I think everybody is sitting at home watching the Ravens last season, watching the Mahomes the past couple of years, and realizing that you need a solid offense if you want to win games. Right? You need a good defense, right? But you need a solid offense if you want to win games. So my first part of my hopes for what the Lions do is I have to look up Lions. Do you know how much cap space they have going into next season?
No, I can find it real quick.
I'm super curious, because I think personally, I do want Matthew Stafford to stay one more year with the Lions, and I want the Lions to pick up Allen Robinson in free agency. That's my hope. That as the Allen Robinson owner, I need A-Rob to get out of the Bears and stay in division and go with a quarterback, like you said, who's going to sling it on a team where that's defense is terrible, on a quarterback who's not afraid to sling it. Right? So I don't know if they can afford A-Rob, but if you put him on the other side of Kenny Golladay, oh my gosh, man! Then you have DeAndre Swift coming out of the backfield, and then Danny Amendola doing his thing in the slant or in the in the slot. Dude, all of a sudden that becomes a powerful offense. Now, to sum it all up, and this goes on your point, if they don't want to pay Stafford, that's fine. I say you cut him or you trade him or whatever you have to do, get a couple picks, pick up Ryan Fitzpatrick this offseason, then, and maybe it's just because I'm from Utah, but if they draft Zach Wilson in the draft, right, who's only 21, 22 years old, looking as good as he does, give him a year behind Fitzmagic, then put him in this crazy offensive scheme, right, on a defense that's that bad, like all of a sudden I think the Lions could really turn around. Now I know I'm going down the rabbit hole and I'm talking about such specific things that have to happen, but if they bring in an offensive mind, some kind of great head coach, their defense is going to take a couple of years to rebuild. You get Allen Robinson in there, Swift out of the backfield, have either Fitzmagic or Stafford train up a Zach Wilson. All of a sudden, a year from now, the Lions are a completely different team, and giving the Packers a run for their money.
Okay.
That's the rabbit hole. Yeah, tell me about it.
Here's the issue, though, with the salary cap.
Mm-hmm.
Because of COVID, there's not as much money circulating within the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
The salary cap for the first time, I don't want to say ever, but I'm going to say ever. I don't know if it's true, but almost every single year, the salary cap increases. Inflation. This happens year on year on. Next year, the salary cap. Right now, they project the salary cap, if according to overthecap.com, if this is correct, is $214 million. Next year, the projected salary cap is $176 million. So that's 25, 30, 40 million less dollars, essentially.
Yeah.
Give or take, and that's a quarterback contract.
Yeah.
So I don't every team is going to be in that bind. Like right now, if you look at the Saints,
Yeah.
if I pull up the Saints are in the biggest. They're going to have.
Well,
they might have to cut
the league right now in cap space
Yeah.
going into 2021.
Yeah, and if let me look at this here.
It looks like the Detroit Lions, at least from spotrack.com, which is how I track most contracts. It says the Lions going into 21 is projected to have the 22nd most cap space in the NFL. So it's not ideal, right? It's not, and that's why I do think they should bring in. I think they need a rookie quarterback, and I think they need a Fitzmagic, right, or something like that. But that's just, I mean, dude, again, I can't. And maybe I love Galladay and I love DeAndre Swift. So if they can boost this offense a little bit, I would love to see it.
Yeah, like for example, I'm looking overthecap.com has projections for next year.
Yeah.
For example, the top 3 teams, and this is going to blow your mind. The top 3 teams with salary cap space going into next year is the Jags, Jets, and then the Colts. The Colts have $75 million in cap space.
Wow, that surprises me.
Because they're so young. They got so many rookie contracts. But the Saints, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams that are currently in the red when it comes to cap space. And the Saints right now are projected to be $93 million over the cap.
Yeah. Huh.
So just for food for
reference.
Yeah, free agency is going to be much different this year than any other year.
Absolutely. So to bring it all together, I think the point you and I are both making is that Matthew Stafford, like, unless he just kind of accepts this Fitzmagic philosophy and stays on this team and just keeps airing out the ball, he's definitely trending down in dynasty formats. And my last trending down dynasty player before we start wrapping things up here is a player that I'm ready to get a little spicy with, a player that I'm ready to receive a little hate on, because I put up a YouTube video on why people need to pump the brakes on this player coming into this offseason, back when I was talking exclusively redraft. And out of all my videos that I've posted on this channel, it has the most dislikes than any other video I have, and that is Miles Sanders. And I think Miles Sanders is currently trending down. Now, I'm not saying he's a drop. I'm not saying he's not a top 24 dynasty running back. I'm just saying that Fantasy Pros currently has Miles Sanders as the RB5 in dynasty. He's still top 12. I mean, I'll even give you top 10, but he's just not top 5 for me. And I just see him continue to trend down, at least from my perspective. I know he has had a mediocre past couple weeks. He's come back from injuries, and I don't want to focus exclusively on the past couple weeks. He isn't seeing a dominant amount of snaps, right? And when you're not seeing a high level of snaps, and that was a big concern with Doug Peterson, you have to replace that with either a lot of touchdowns or a lot of targets in the NFL, right? Or in fantasy, right? That's just what you need to see. And the reality is that offense is just struggling right now. The Eagles' O-line is 30th in adjusted line yards. The Eagles themselves are 27th in yards per game. And I think this has less to do with Miles Sanders and almost everything to do with the Eagles. And they're just a team I'm not super optimistic for, a team that I think is trending down as well. And I still think that they might revert back to their ways. They might bring someone in free agency. I'm just saying, man, because I know I'm going to get so much hate for this, that people were hyping him up as a top 3 dynasty running back this past offseason, and he's trended down since then. And I'll pull up the numbers right now, but I'd rather take Josh Jacobs over him, who's a year younger and is, being treated as a workhorse back, at least from a carries perspective. I would rather take, you can make the argument for you could make the argument for, a DeAndre Swift even, right? Maybe that's putting Swift a little bit high, and maybe that's overestimating what his potential could be on this offense. But because of his age, because how good he looked when he got the ball a couple weeks ago, I put Miles Sanders in the same tier as Nick Chubb, as Derrick Henry. Right, that's the tier I'm putting him in, man. Where he's the top, what
tier is that? Who is that? Tier 2, tier 3?
That's a tier that's pretty much between like running back 10, 11, 12, right? 10, 11, 12. Well, you can make an argument that any of those guys should be. They're all still RB1s in dynasty, and maybe you and I don't see eye to eye when it comes to Nick Chubb, but he he's still a top 12 dynasty running back, not top 5, not top 3. I mean, I'm tired of making excuses for this team and for his fantasy output. And again, we're talking about a top 5 dynasty running back, and people are going to go into drafts and see that. And I don't think he should be drafted as a top 5 dynasty running back, man. You talk about the lack of snaps, right? But he's also been struggling with injury, right? Since week 8 of last season, he struggled with 4 different injuries. And not to say that he's injury prone, maybe he's just unlucky, but he's missed a not significant time, but he has definitely struggled in the past. So I don't know, man. He's not top 5 for me. Definitely not top 3. And people are just going to hear that I'm saying he's trending down, and they're going to blow me up in my DMs. So I'll just have to accept that. What are your thoughts here on Miles Sanders?
Well, I think the only person on the Eagles offense right now that's even thinking about trending. I mean, I know we talk about Jalen Hurts. I think that's a nice deep dive.
Yeah.
And I think he's actually gonna be the guy sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
But the only other guy on that offense that's trending up, in my opinion, is Goddard, and that's just because he's about to become their number 1 receiver.
Yeah.
Their number 1 catching option. That's just what that offense is built through.
Yeah.
I like Miles Sanders. I think he's a fun player.
Yeah.
But I think I'm not buying into that Eagles offense at all.
Yeah.
I don't know why anyone would.
Mm-hmm.
So until I see schematic changes, philosophical changes, even you could get to with that Eagles offense, I think he's a great trending down player because But is it a trending down player, or is it even a guy I would like to buy low? And it's like,
absolutely,
can't really sell him right now because you're not going to get what you should.
Yeah,
you can't really buy him right now because whoever's going to sell him is going to want more than what you can buy him for.
Yeah,
I just think he's overpriced. I think he's overpriced. I think like the fact that you think he's in the same category as Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb blows my mind.
Really?
Like, I wouldn't put him there.
So
not in this
12?
current.
Is he a top 12 dynasty running back for you right now? I'll throw out a couple names. Give it a little context, right? So Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry you have over him, right?
Yes.
I know you're way down on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Would you take right now Clyde or?
I would take Clyde.
Would you take Clyde? Okay, so you have him in like the 15 to 20 range. It sounds like.
Yeah, I would It's hard for dynasty.
Yeah, it is.
For because running back situation's always so fluctuating. But
he's only 23, still on that rookie contract, right?
Yeah, he's only sophomore. He's sophomore slump. It is what it is.
Yeah. I'm not trying to defend the player. I'm saying he's trending down. One, I just love trash talking all of Trey's running backs. That's actually one of my biggest hobbies. And then two,
I put it under my special skills aspect of my resume.
Oh, it's just roasting Trey's
roasting Trey's running backs. Yeah,
absolutely. His running backs are just still trash.
No, but I mean, like,
this is what
I guess it's okay. Go ahead.
Weeks 2 through 5, he was healthy and he was averaging 79% of snaps in weeks 2 through 5. Right in that span, he was still getting a decent amount of carries, still getting plenty of targets, and he was the RB10 in that span. Right, he's only 23 years old. He was getting all the snaps, all the targets. He looked good out there, and because of that offense, it hindered him. Right, that offense he had all the opportunity in the world, and it wasn't him not getting it done. It was just the offense was struggling and continues to struggle. So until I see that improvement, man, he's definitely not top.
And I will say the offensive line injuries along the Eagles has been terrible the entire season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know a lot of people are like, Doug Peterson needs to get fired. They need a clean house.
Yeah.
I get where they're coming from, but they did just win a Super Bowl a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean they did, but that was also with Nick Foles, and their defense was much better.
But that's what I'm saying. Like you accomplish what you wanted to accomplish. It's always about winning a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know. I think if Doug Peterson decides to roll with Wentz, I think he will die with Wentz in terms of his career at Philly.
Yeah.
And that I really think Wentz hinders that entire offense because he just has never looked the same since those back injuries.
Yeah. So for everyone watching, we're saying he's trending down. He's not currently a top 10 even running back for us, it sounds like, from a dynasty perspective. But if you disagree with us, I mean, it's entirely possible that next season their offensive weapons come back healthy, right? Their offensive line returns and is better. Doug Peterson's there. He's gone, whatever. Wentz is no longer the quarterback, and that offense improves and back to what it was, and that whoever comes in gives Sanders a workhorse role, then absolutely, man. If all those things happen and the offense improves and the scheme's different and he gets all the work, top 5 because of the talent, right, and because of his age. But a lot has to happen for me to believe that. So if you believe that, go buy him low. I mean, if you buy low, quote unquote, I mean, I said, I guess the players that you put behind him, right? I think you took Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb over him, and I think those are in the same tier. And if you all agree, then go make some moves for him, man. See how the Sanders owners is feeling right now, because they might not be so happy, right? I mean, they might not be so happy because they're probably not making the playoffs. I mean, I guess it depends. But man, if I can ship Joe Mixon and a 2nd-round pick, I'd do that for Miles Sanders. You know, maybe, right? I don't think that's terrible, right? You get a younger running back on a team that probably, I don't know, man. Anyways, I'm not going to defend the player I'm saying was trending down. I'm just saying that y'all can hate me. He's not a top 5 dynasty running back in my opinion. All right, man, let's wrap this up. Who was your last trending down running back before people, I mean, I know they stopped watching in that last second, but who's your last trending down player?
I don't have one.
You don't have one? Excellent.
Yep, I only had Matthew Stafford.
Good, because I have one that we need to talk about. I'm glad. I always have a third one that I want to talk about, but I have to limit myself to 2. And I'm going to give you a couple facts about him, and you can go ahead and guess them. Former first-round pick, right? Wide receiver, right? Wide receiver, former first-round pick.
Is this trending down?
Trending downwards. Yeah,
okay.
He's trending downwards. He had a negative fantasy output this past week. He, over his first 2 seasons in the NFL, he has played 16 games where he's been eligible to be in your lineup, right? 16 games because of the injuries he struggled with. Only 16 has been eligible to be in your lineup, and he only has 3 games with double-digit fantasy outputs. All right, former first-round pick, has struggled, wide receiver, has struggled over the past 2 years since he got drafted with injury, and is part of a very underwhelming AFC offense right now. I'll give you a hint. This is a team that I watch very closely, and I have seen every single snap of N'Keal Harry, man. I've seen every single snap. I was listening to a podcast earlier this week, and they were talking about how the Patriots could have had DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown on their team, right? But instead, they drafted N'Keal Harry and then I believe it was a cornerback or safety in the 2nd round. So we could have had the 2 best, wide receivers in the league, and instead we have N'Keal Harry, who's just not panned out. I like N'Keal Harry coming out, and I was really excited when they drafted him. And the reality is he's been miserable in fantasy, and he's just not been great. And the reality is I'm not excited about any of those offensive weapons. Any wide receiver right now in New England, I'm not excited about. And the fact that Harry has struggled with injury so badly over the past 2 years, and the fact that that my guy, oh my gosh, how can I forget his name? The man I drafted at the very end of the draft, who's finally doing well as the Patriot. I'm gonna look this up right now because I will be so offended. Myers. Jeez, I'm so offended. But anyways, I apologize because I said I love this guy and I can't even remember his fucking name.
Jacoby Myers?
Jacoby Myers, right? He's getting outplayed by Jacoby Myers right now, right? And it's just not living up to that first round output. Now, if you're watching this, and again, I've said this 100 times, dynasty value is subjective, right? And I'm just saying that his public opinion is drafting down, right? And if you don't believe me, and if you think he's going to come back and be healthy, and that the Patriots going to draft a quarterback, or they're going to bring in, Cam's going to have an offense to click everything together, and he's going to be the wide receiver 1 in that offense, go ahead and go try to trade for him because his dynasty value has never been lower. And I think it's just going to continue to trend down. But we'll see, man. That's my trending down player. What are your thoughts on N'Keal Harry?
Garbage.
Oh my gosh, dude! Tell me how you really feel.
It's tough to play receiver in the NFL.
Yeah,
and it's tough for a quarterback to want to play or want to throw your way as receiver if you can't create separation.
Yeah.
And then when you do create separation, you get the ball thrown to you and it hits you in the hands and you drop it. I mean,
yeah,
because the opportunity has been there. Someone on that Patriots team has had to step up this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they haven't really had anyone be like, wow, look at this guy. You know, Jacoby Myers. Yeah, Edelman's old.
Mm-hmm.
Running back situations always. They got no tight end, essentially. You know, that offense has been begging for someone to be like, hey, I'm the guy. Let's do this. And it just hasn't happened. And I wasn't a huge fan of him coming out. Just isn't my type of receiver. Is it, you know, I like guys that make DBs. I don't think N'Keal Harry scares DBs. Like, even when I would watch Pac-12 After Dark, I'd be like, yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do anything special. He's just bigger than everyone in college.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I'm a Utes fan, man. No, I definitely remember watching. To sum it up perfectly how I feel about N'Keal Harry. Right now, his current target rating, target accuracy ranking, is 5.99. That's 111th in the league right now. So he's not seeing great targets. He is target separation, so how far he is from the defender when the ball reaches there, is 1.53 yards. That's 63rd in the league. And because of this, as you can imagine, his catch rate is 55.8%, 96th in the league. So he's not creating separation. The targets he's seeing aren't great. He is 7th in contested catch rate because, like you said, he's a big dude, but just not a player that I think is trending up. All right, man. We're about to get out of here. I have one last segment for you. Right, one last segment. I'm super excited about.
Looking forward to it. Yeah, me too.
You sound a little bit more excited, man. It is a segment called "Am I High?" Right, and not high on a player. Right, not am I like valuing someone too high. Is am I consuming drugs and completely wrong on this player I'm talking about? So I'm going to start with a question for you, and you have to tell me if I'm high or not, right? Question number 1. Should Antonio Gibson, who we just talked about, who's 22 years old, catching the world on fire on a terrible offense, should he be ranked higher than Miles Sanders in dynasty leagues? Am I high? For context, Fantasy Pros, they're currently 10 spot different. And personally, I don't know if I'd rank him over him, but they're getting close to pretty much the same tier for me. So I could just be high, but I need you to tell me.
To draft Antonio Gibson over Miles Sanders?
If your draft was today.
No, I don't think you're high.
No, really? Okay. Oh, man, I'm being clean, man. I like it. It's spicy, and a lot of people won't agree with us, but Noah says I'm not high. Okay, Noah, am I high to say that the Eagles are going to finish the season with only 4 wins? They're 3-7-1 right now. The schedule to finish the season is Green Bay, New Orleans, Arizona, Dallas, and Washington. Right, so I don't think they're going to beat Green Bay, New Orleans, or Arizona. They might beat Dallas. I don't think they beat Washington. Do you think they're going to be? You don't think I'm high?
No.
I love it, dude. I love to see it. I'm shooting out these hot takes, and you're agreeing with me.
Were you high when you thought of these things?
No. I was stone cold sober when I thought of all these. So the fact
okay.
Maybe that was the problem. Okay, here's the next one. And the main reason I bring up the Eagles is I saw a mock draft recently where they didn't have the Eagles with a top 12 pick. And I was like, well, have you seen their schedule? Like, who are they going to beat? They're going to have 4 wins and have a top 10 pick, in my opinion. Anyways, am I high to say that Justin Herbert is a top 5 dynasty quarterback right now? Now, I'll break it down for you. He's currently the quarterback 4 on the season as a rookie, right? And that's I took that after he started, right? So since in games that he started, he's the quarterback 4 on the season. For me, I have Mahomes, I have Kyler Murray, and I have Wilson locked in as my top 3 dynasty quarterbacks. Then I have this tier that you and I have talked about before, that Daxon, who should be top tier but is struggling with the injury, not certain about the future. that Deshaun Watson is in, who has the contract, it looks great, but that team itself and now his offensive weapons are kind of questionable. You have Lamar Jackson, who has seriously regressed since last season. You have Josh Allen from the Bills, who is performing right now, struggling against better defenses, but has yet to really prove it to me, I think. I have to see him do it for 2 years before I believe in him. And then you have Herbert.
You are high.
I'm high. Okay, let's break it down for me. Who would you take out of Dak, Watson, Lamar, and Josh Allen? Who would you take over Justin Herbert?
My list, I'm looking at it. Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Okay. I mean, so where do you have him? Like,
oh, I mean, like he is like 6.
Okay, perfect.
He's like right. He is right there. Like I would probably have Mahomes, Wilson, Murray, and Watson. Then my tier would break.
Oh, okay.
And then I would have Josh Allen, assuming Dak comes back healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Dak, and then probably a Herbert type of situation.
So good and is a rookie and didn't have an off season to really it's insane, man. It's so crazy. Another player I disrespect, another player people were calling a bust right when he got drafted, and he doesn't care, right? He doesn't care. He's getting his weird haircuts and is just throwing touchdowns, and it's so much fun to watch. Okay, I was high on that one. This is the last one.
Barely.
Barely, just a little bit high. Just, a little bit. This is the last one. Am I high to say that Calvin Ridley should be ranked as a top 5 dynasty wide receiver today? Now, if you subtract the 2 games that he missed, he is the wide receiver 5 on the season, averaging 18.5 points per game. Now, I made a video earlier in the year and talked about how efficient he is, him coming out in the draft, how excited everybody was, and how if he saw the targets, he could be elite, right? I mean, he's the perfect age for where you want a wide receiver. And the reality is that Julio Jones has been off and on the field this season. And because of that, regardless, he's averaging 9 targets a game. And I believe that Julio Jones' career is coming to a close. Whether he has one more year, whether he retires this offseason because he's still struggling with injuries, or has one more year, I think Julio is on the way out. And because of that, I think Ridley's going to get fed. And if Ridley gets fed, then he's going to continue to ball. Now, we all know that Falcons offense has struggled. Matt Ryan has struggled in fantasy without Julio in the lineup. Calvin really doesn't care because he's just seeing more volume. He's getting all the targets, and he's looking well with them. So it's tough. Top 5 wide receivers, brutal, because you have guys like Metcalf, you have Hopkins, you have Devontae Adams, you have A.J. Brown, you have Tyreek Hill, you have Michael Thomas, or you have all these elite players. But I think he should be a top 5 dynasty wide receiver, and if he isn't currently, I think he will be going into next offseason. Am I high? Yes. I'm high. How high am I? Am I like?
I think he's more around the 8 or 9 range. I think he's on the cusp of top 10. I think you could argue that sometimes he might be left out. Sometimes he's right there in the thick of it. But I have, I just listed off all those quarterbacks. I go, all right, well, who did those quarterbacks throw to? Mahomes throws to Tyreek Hill, definite top 5 receiver.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson throws to DK Metcalf, definite top 5 wide receiver in dynasty rankings. Then I was like, all right, who you got?
Murray to Hopkins.
Murray to Hopkins. That's number 3. Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers may not be the best dynasty pick.
Yeah.
But still, while he plays, is awesome. Got to take D Adams. And if you're really that high on Josh Allen and Herbert.
Oh yeah.
You gotta throw Keenan Allen and Stephon near that threshold.
Wow.
Just because those offenses are going to keep getting better. Stephon is fantastic. Stephon's been awesome.
Yeah, it's true. Still,
so I would say tier wise, I mean, you got to have Tyreek and Devontae Adams own tier.
Yeah.
Probably with D-Hop, those 3, and then you got to have DK kind of in his own tier.
Oh, interesting.
Because he's just so young, but is so different. And then probably like Keenan, Stephon, Chris Godwin. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I know, man.
I'm not. Yeah, come on.
I hear you.
They're so high, dude.
I might be absolutely just baked right now, and I'll tell you this right now. I completely understand that. Again, dynasty value, I'll say this a million times, is subjective. He's top 5 for me. He is top 5 for me. And I have Metcalf at 1. I have Tyreek Hill in that 2 area.
I sure hope he's top 5 for you after trading away Dalvin for him.
Yeah, exactly. See this? I'm just still trying to justify me
yes,
trading
you are.
Dalvin Cook for him. And I think the only argument I can make comparing quarterbacks is because trust me, I know that Matt Ryan's quarterback plays nothing compared to these other guys. It's just the amount of volume he's seeing and what he does with the ball. I mean, I put him in Devontae Adams. He's way younger than Devontae Adams, right? And it all comes down to your perspective on him. But that's why apparently I was high. But I'll still put Calvin Ridley as a top 5 dynasty wide receiver, man.
I mean, he's definitely right up there. But yeah. I'll take those other guys. But also, I'm tainted. I don't really want a Falcons player. I don't like the Falcons. I'm a Bucs fan. I don't really like the.
You sound a little biased. So we're gonna meet somewhere in the middle and say he's at least top 8, top 10. It's tough. It really is. And I totally make I understand the argument with all those players you made. So we'll see, man. We'll see. That's just where I'm at with it all. Go buy Calvin Ridley if you guys can. I would definitely take Calvin Ridley over Keenan Allen and Stephon Diggs. Due to age alone. I mean, he's 2 years younger than Diggs, 3 years younger than Keenan Allen, but I mean, age isn't everything. I know that, but I think he's going to produce just as well as they will moving forward, or at least in that same tier, and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. Again, I did trade Dalvin Cook for him. So Dalvin Cook and a piece, guys. I traded Dalvin Cook, and I don't even remember. We don't have to relive this, man. I don't want to talk about this again. All right, Noah. Let's wrap it up, man. That's all for me, guys. If you're new to this channel, if you enjoyed it, hit that subscribe button, like down below. Let us know other players you guys want us to talk about down in the comments. And guys, if you noticed, we didn't talk about a followers team today because I haven't had anyone DM me. Right? I haven't had the time to ask people to DM me, but go ahead and send me screenshots of your dynasty team. We want to talk about it. We want to analyze it and give you the best advice we possibly can. So go ahead and do that. Follow me on Instagram at fantasy.football.buff. And yeah, man, that's all for me. We'll see you guys next time. Noah, do you have anything to close out?
If anyone's got any interesting trades as well that they're kind of mulling over, thinking like, oh, wow, yeah, I would like to do this trade, or like, oh, I would like to do this trade. What do you guys think of this type of thing? I would love to, jam it out and bounce some ideas off around, because that's sometimes all I'm looking for when I'm trying to trade is like, hey, what's your thoughts on this? Just like, what do you think? Am I crazy? Am I high for thinking I can trade this person for this
probably
person?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. So that's just how, you just got to think of it like that. But yeah, that just something I'm throwing out there.
Absolutely, guys. Go to the comment section, find that Discord link. We need more people in the Discord channel. It can't just be Noah and I just sitting there alone. All right. All right, man. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. Peace.